I'd like to share kind of a personal experience. We do a lot of prayers and chants here at the Abbey, but there's one particular prayer that has really made quite an impression on me, and I use it a lot to help remind myself why I'm here. When I first came here back in 2004, I think the first EML, Exploring Monastic Life, was on 2005, and I was a layperson at the time. In fact, everybody that attended, I think the first two, with the exception of one person, were all lay people. And it was wonderful to see Venerable try to help begin training us, even at that level, on how to cultivate a monastic mind. And because at the time I didn't have any idea that I was going to become a monastic, I was somewhat curious about her efforts. But she must have seen some raw potential in there, because a few years after that she actually put together, I think, one of the most beautiful prayers that we have here at the Abbey. And so I just wanted today, it might take one or two of these BBCs to get through it, but I did want to share it with all of you because I find it to be the most practical, down-to-earth training on how to truly create and to generate a monastic mind. And for some reason, before I really thought about ordination, I thought monastic minds were these far-reaching, I don't know where they were or where they came from. They were transcendental, they were esoteric, they were somewhere out there. I've got this magical thinking that I have acknowledged and need to work on. But when Venerable put this prayer together, it was like, it was so grounding for me, because I'm a little bit of a space cadet. This was one of the most grounding prayers that we have, and I use it every day when in the meditation hall to really ground me for the day. So I wanted to start on just going through some of the sentences and the ones that I connect to and in what way I connect to them. Having a monastic mind, in parentheses, benefits our Dharma practice whether we are monastics or lay practitioners. I happen to find this to be one of the most connecting sentences, because I think for me, there's a wanting to separate the lay practitioners in the Buddhist tradition and the monastic practitioners in the Buddhist tradition, and this prayer puts us all together on the same page. A monastic mind is one that is humble. That's a tough one. Imbued with the Buddhist worldview, dedicated to cultivating mindfulness, clear knowing, love, compassion, wisdom, and other good qualities. And when I think of this sentence, I think of well-roundedness, I think of balance, I think of healthy, I think of grounded in the Dharma in a practical, integrative way. To be humble, you know, I always thought I was humble, but I have a certain level of arrogance, the kind of pride that says I'm the lowest of all, I'm like the little schmuck that just can't keep up with everybody. So I have a pride that is very different than the arrogance of being very scholarly and being very sharp and being very quick in response. I have always had that inverted pride that is very jealous of other people's accomplishments and doesn't see very much of what I hold myself. So that the antidote is to see myself in a self-accepting, honest kind of way, that I don't need to be jealous of anybody, I don't need to compete with anybody, that my way of being, if I'm true to myself, is authentic and can be very humbling in the presence of the Buddhist teachings, and that they can help me to grow that humility in a way that I can be more receptive, not only to the Buddhist teachings, but receptive to other people, receptive to my own foibles, receptive to my own good qualities. And that humility is a very, very beautiful quality to have that I have been pretty much unaware of being able to cultivate. So the one that is humble, very important. Imbued with the Buddhist worldview. The Buddhist worldview is huge, it's vast, it's profound, it stretches my mind more than even my wild imagination can, and that there are certain things in the Buddhist worldview in relationship to the power of the mind, the nature of the mind, about the law of causality, that have given me hope. I never thought that my mind was anything but confusion. I never thought that all of my actions, I was going to be punished somewhere, and that I didn't have any power on determining what was going to happen to me in the future. So some of the points of the Buddhist worldview, and that my aspiration to become awakened is not just for my own self-liberation, but I can include all living beings in that scope. The Buddhist worldview has been very empowering for someone like me who's had quite a very strong victim self-image, a disempowered self-image, that I have been really inspired, and I don't know, my mind's growing with the idea that I have some say about how things unfold for myself. Dedicated to cultivating mindfulness. And it's not just how I wash the dishes, but how I relate to the way that I feel, what my mind is doing, what my body's doing, what the objects in relationship to me, what their meaning is in my life, and to use it to develop renunciation, to use it to develop a kind and open heart, and to develop my wisdom about what I think my feelings are, what I think my mind is, what I think my body is, what I think phenomena are. Clear knowing, I think, is another way to, I think it's also introspective awareness, to watch what's going on inside of my mind. I've given my mind full rein to go wherever it's wanted all of my life until I met the Dharma. And this thing is called introspective awareness, like having this little spy who looks in and goes, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Where are you going? How does that feel? You're not, you know, what's going on here? And I've got her sort of dressed up in this Nancy Drew outfit, where she's kind of got this hat on and this scarf. And anyway, she's kind of caricatured for me, but she does keep me on task. And it's a kind of mind that helps me catch myself before the afflictions take hold of me like a nose in my ring and then drag me through the mud. It has become a very powerful ally as far as catching the afflictions before they get out of control. Love, compassion, and wisdom. The wish for all beings, including myself, to be happy. The wish for myself and all beings to be free of suffering and all of its causes. That's the part of this wish that has been very empowering to say every morning, is the causes for those things that I want to generate in my own mind, so that I can not only be happy and be free of suffering myself, but all the causes that bring those about. I want them to be part of my life, and I wish that for all living beings. And that's a very, when I feel really isolated and I feel really lonely and disconnected from the world, when I think about the wish to do that not only for myself but all other beings, helps me, but that the causes and conditions have to be created. I just can't wish it. I have to be able to generate it within myself, and then to help others to support that growing within their own minds. Wisdom and other good qualities. This wisdom one, I've been quite intimidated by ever thinking that I could cultivate this until Venerable taught on the grounds and paths. And so this is one that I really feel that over time I'm starting to understand a little bit in my mind, that to understand the nature of reality is the ultimate, most powerful medicine for freeing myself from this cycle of unending birth, aging, sickness, and death, and crazy thinking and misapprehending the way the reality exists. And then other good qualities, well, that could be all of them. I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of good qualities that each and every sentient being can cultivate, and that the monastic mind is the kind of mind that has the deepest, most truest intention to directly cultivate all of these to the best of its ability, and to use this path specifically for doing that. So there's a lot in those two sentences. There's a lot more to come. But I find it to be a very empowering motivation, and it has, it has really brought me a lot of hope. It's brought me a lot of confidence, and being okay that it's going to take a long time, and that's really quite fine.